You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Unsealed, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle. I'm Christopher Manti, your humble host. Hopefully humble anyways. Today is a good day because we're here. We have one more day to hopefully get to know God and repent of our sin and come into right standing with him through Jesus. Amen. All right. Now, I want to hear from you. First of all, share this video, please. It's really important. We are a small-time, nothing operation. We have no fans compared to most of your YouTubers or podcasters. We have no respect in the community whatsoever, and that's fine. Okay, that is fine, but that's the facts. So we need your help to change that, or to at least share it with new people, new audiences. Okay, please share, especially on YouTube. The YouTube link is very, very good. And if you're on the X platform on Twitter, please let me know you're there as well, or on Facebook, or even Instagram today. We are live on all of those places, and we want to hear from you. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and express it. Just type it on in wherever you're watching. If you are listening afterwards on your various podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., we love you just the same. Obviously, we can't interact with you in that way, but you can always make a comment there below, or if you're into email, the best way to reach me is on the X platform, Manti4, Mantei 4 on X. Email still available if you'd like, Christopher@wingsoftheeagle.com. Anyway, last thing before we get going here on this very, very cool topic is, again, we do need your support. So if you can give anything whatsoever besides a share is mandatory because it's free. Okay, do me that favor. But if you can give anything, please go to wingsoftheeagle.com/support unsealed, or we're on Patreon as well. Just type in Wings of the Eagle, one word, and patreon.com/Wings of the Eagle. There we are. Okay. Something has come out, and I figured I should catch the wave here, and while the thoughts are fresh and percolating, see what we've got, and if anything interesting comes of it, fantastic. So Immaculate Constellation apparently just mention of this phrase by the original author, I'm sure, of the piece, the one who put it out there, Michael Schellenberger, who wrote about it and published it. He, I'm sure, is going to get surveilled over this because that's what he was told. And maybe I will as well. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. Come on in. I'm the same person, private and public. I'm going to say I have the same beliefs. I'll say the same things. I'll tell you the gospel. We'll talk about UFOs, whatever. There's no, I don't care if you surveil me or not. But point is, I doubt it. Okay, I doubt it because this term is now getting out there, and I'm doing my part in that. Yes, I am. Little tiny part, though it may be. So what are we talking about here? So this is, again, Michael Schellenberger has released 2 days ago a story that, with the gist of it is, and it's behind a paywall, some of it, so I'll just give you the gist of it, is that there is a new whistleblower that has, I don't want to say come out publicly because he or she hasn't, but they have gone to Congress and as a whistleblower and written I think he said 25-page report detailing what the complaint is. See, so when you're a whistleblower, you're not just saying information, you're alleging illegalities. You are alleging illegal activities. You're alleging at least immoral activities that goes against what company you're with or what arm of the government you're with. They are violating their rules. That's what a whistleblower is. And they don't want to have negative consequences on them, so they are going right to the boss of the boss, which in this case, even though it doesn't seem like it anymore, the Congress of the United States, the Senate and the House, is the boss of the military and is the boss of the entire, well, it's the check on the entire executive branch. And the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, the intelligence community, the CIA, NSA, yada, yada, all those agencies are all the executive branch. They're all under the presidential pyramid, as it were. Okay? So that's the executive branch. Well, the Constitution, as Schellenberger rightly says, completely correctly says, that you cannot, the Constitution demands and requires, as a country, that the Congress be told of everything. They are supposed to, the purpose of them is to give permission and to fund and to oversee the activities of the executive branch. And the check on the Congress, of course, is the Supreme Court. But anyways, there is nothing. There is no program. There is no secret anything. Nothing. Now, I know that's not the realities because we've tried to get away with it, and they mostly have. But there is supposed to be no secret programs. Not that the world has to know about everything the military or CIA is up to. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that at least 8 people in Congress have to be told. And that is what's not happening. That's what David Grush said last year. That's what whistleblowers have said all along. That's what this new person is saying now. He's saying, he or she, I don't even know if it's a he, is saying, yes, there's illegality in that you're not being told about this program. It's real and it exists. It's funded, and you're not in the loop. Congress. Well, guess what? I don't care what the topic is, and we said this a lot over the past year and a half or whatever. We've been talking about this stuff. Hello, Bond Sir. Welcome. I don't care what the program is. I don't care if it's secret airplanes. I don't care if it's MK Ultra. I don't care if it's spying. I don't care if it's secret anything. UFOs or whatever. It doesn't matter. There is zero. You are not allowed in any way, under any circumstance, to have a secret program that 8 people in the Congress don't know about, called the Gang of 8. And like I said before, even that is bogus. That is a new invention. That is something they came up with so they don't have to tell more people. This is a very recent development, this Gang of 8. But those 8 have to know every program. And they don't. They didn't in the 70s. They don't today. That is the core problem. And that's why I said in the description here that this issue that has now been brought up again, and now we have a program name that everyone is going to deny exists. But if there's proof of it, yes, it does. It's more important than the presidential election. It by 1,000%, by 1,000-fold, by 1,000 degrees. It makes no difference who wins in November. I'm sorry to break it to you all. It makes no difference if this is allowed to continue. And I don't have faith in either one of these candidates that will do anything. They're not going to break the tradition. They're scared. So it has to be done a different way. And I'm all for it, by the way. I hope that would be fantastic if maybe even before Biden. Ouch. Maybe even before Biden, hurt myself. Even before Biden leaves office in January, which he will. Before that, if he announces and pulls the rug out and says, you know what, guys, we actually do have. I found out about it, and I'm going to tell you all I know. Here's the secret programs, including this one called Immaculate Constellation, or whatever else it may be called now. This is it, and spills the beans. Fantastic. Love it. Okay, this is what we know, and whether it's we're not alone or we're being whatever, there's something in our oceans and the moon and all this stuff. I don't whatever he wants to announce, everything he's got, put it on the table. You're retiring anyway. That's my view. You're out of here. There's no the election will be over in a month. Let that happen and then spill the beans. You literally nothing to lose. Anyway, assuming he doesn't do that, then it's up to the next guy or gal. At the end of January, you get sworn in, and now it's up to them for 4 years. They're not going to do it either. I just don't believe it. So this is why we have to go this route. Okay, what is this about? First of all, the whistleblower, this one who has come to the Congress and had this report submitted that Mr. Schellenberger has been made privy to, names for the first time ever that I know of the name of at least part of what we would call, quote unquote, the program. Okay, the program meaning the entire kit and caboodle of, yes, there's UFOs. Yes, we know about them for a long time, multi-decades, at least 80 years, if not more. We've had communication. We've had conflict. We've had things that have crashed, whether it be by accident or donation, or we shot them down, or they shot each other down, whatever. We have stuff that we've taken to study and to try to reverse engineer it so we could have stuff like that. And the pilots of such vehicles are also in our possession, dead or alive. We'll find out, I guess. But that's the program. All that entails, every aspect of that's what you'd call the program. So this, I have a feeling, is only part of it. It may be an umbrella for smaller ones underneath it. But anyway, so this is what this guy or gal has said. This whistleblower has said this is the name of what they know about, and this is the program. And what is it? The description of it is, and this is also others have come out and confirmed it besides this person, Mr. Schellenberger and his whistleblower. The program, Immaculate Constellation, is tasked to, in other words, the purpose of it, detect, quarantine, and transfer UAP, in other words, UFO vehicles. Detect, quarantine, and transfer. And in the story, it says to do this all before the regular standard military intelligence operation knows about it. So again, this is what I've been saying now for quite a while. There's a civil war going on in our government against itself. Some are willing to continue this and some want this to end. But to the point, though, where it's so secret, they're keeping it from themselves. So there is no one government. There's the program, and then there's, well, we can't tell others about this because they don't have the need to know. They're not authorized. They're not on the access control list. So apparently this is what they do. Somehow they're detecting quarantine. You know what quarantine is? Get them out somewhere out of view, somewhere safe, or somewhere where they can't be seen or detected. So after you detect them, we hide them and then transfer it. Now, what does that all mean? I don't know exactly what that means. It could mean just as simple as, well, we found one. Let's go grab that and take it away, literally, physically hide it. It could mean to detect and quarantine it from the view of other sensors. So somehow they're clouding it or making it go away from official reports. So, oh, look at that. The official radar or whatever has nothing on it. Even though we know it's there. I don't, just throwing it out there. Okay. And then transfer them. Like, to me, that word transferring to where? to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, to some other facility in the United States, somewhere else around the world, to another dimension. I don't know. This is Jeremy Corbell. He says he can confirm the name and what they do, and it deals with non-human intelligence, NHI. That's the modern nomenclature for non-human beings. NHI craft, and also documents any foreign progress based on performance capabilities derived from reverse engineered propulsion systems from UAP UFO craft. In other words, they're spying on other countries to see how they are proceeding with their programs, because we know for a fact at least Russia and China have a program of their own. Probably India. Maybe Israel. Both passive, this is Jeremy again, both passive and active reconnaissance platforms operated by the U.S. are utilized in the process of intelligence collection. That may have to do with the name. And that's, I was speculating yesterday about what that could actually be about. When you have a bunch of satellites or sensors in space or around the Earth in different, an array of satellites, for instance, that's called a constellation. Obviously, the main meaning of the term is the stars in the sky, and they form shapes, and those are called constellations, right? But going back thousands of years, that's how we identify what stars are where we are in the terms of the year. Anyway, what season, so forth and so on. But that's one explanation of this name. Now, I don't know if it's a current name. I don't know if it's what they call it right this second. I don't know if it's been changed. I don't know if it's the original name and how old the name is. I don't know. We're not told any of that. So it may still be accurate, or it may at one time been accurate. And maybe it's more of an informal name to the ones who are on the program or above it. I don't know. But if it is used, and if it is referring to an unacknowledged special access program, then it's real. And it's doing something. It's detecting somehow, maybe it's a satellite constellation working together as a system. That would count as a constellation. Let me just finish Jeremy's thoughts here, and then I'll go on. Passive and active reconnaissance platforms. That should tell you. Remember, David Grush used to work for the National Reconnaissance Office. But maybe that's not a coinkydink. They had their own satellites. That's what it means. And they could see whatever they wanted to on the Earth or around the Earth. It's obviously very secretive, but it exists. Passive and active reconnaissance platforms. I can also confirm there exists a substantial collection of high fidelity imagery and footage related to this effort from a wide variety of reconnaissance and weapon systems platforms, representing a vast array, there's the word array again, of types of imagery, FMV, infrared, radar, thermal, etc. So lots of instruments recording videos and data, images, and high fidelity and footage. So again, we're being told again that there is many more pictures and videos of legit UFOs, UAPs that you are not allowed to see. And it's not because they're secret American stuff. The Americans are recording this stuff. And the Russians and Chinese haven't leapfrogged us, friends. Ultimately, Immaculate Constellation is indicative of crimes of secrecy. That's correct. If it exists and is being withheld from the Gang of Eight, it is literally illegal. 100,000 million% illegal. And needs to be ended. or needs to be brought out, and people need to be prosecuted. Crimes of secrecy and intentional UFO UAP cover-up. That's what it would mean. Yes, it would. And the abuse of power and position. Correct. Obstructing legal and necessary oversight by the Congress, hence the people of the United States. Now, as much as we hate Congress, our this levels of approval for Congress is always incredibly low. As much as we say we hate them, they are us. Literally, they are us. The people of the United States, they are our representatives, literally. Not in a, metaphoric sense. They are literally the guys and gals you send to Washington to do these things. They literally represent you. The things they know is what the people know. If they are not told, the people have not been told. And the laws are being broken. Anyway. With total disregard for the appropriate transparency to the American people and the global public. This directly impacts our country's representative government, thank you, and also its citizens by keeping us in the dark, which stands in stark contrast to the values of a free and democratic society. That's true. Okay, so that's what Jeremy Corbell says. So, Bondservant says, the thought came to me maybe UFOs are coming from the constellation Virgo. Well, here's the thing, and this is Virgo is a constellation, and Virgo means the Virgin. And if you look at, let me see if I could actually share it. There we go. That's what I put on X yesterday. That's Virgo. The outline. And by the way, it's intentionally, you see the figure and why it's called the Virgin or the woman is because of her prone position. She's laying down with her arms in the air and her legs out there. Okay, that's why it's called that. That is if it's a virgin, you would say immaculate. Okay, first of all, yes, we know the phrase is a very, very popular Christian, Catholic Orthodox long time phrase called the Immaculate Conception, which is it was invented to describe the virgin birth of Jesus Christ. Immaculate meaning holy and unprecedented. And it would be unprecedented. No one has ever been made pregnant without a father before. Well, this saying God is the actual father of Jesus. The Holy Spirit made Mary pregnant, hence the Immaculate Conception. Well, this is a very close proximity to that. Maybe it's a reference to that. Maybe it's not. But point is, there is a constellation in your sky right now called the Virgin, and so that would count to me as an immaculate constellation. Okay, is this where they got the name from? Could be. Another aspect to this that someone else pointed out that I think is a really good point is that what do you call all the constellations? There are 12 main ones, right? You would call all the 12 together as the zodiac, right? You ever hear that? The zodiac? That's the name of all the stars or all the constellations. The 12 major constellations are called the zodiac. Well, you have some majestic 12, like 12 constellations, documents that say Zodiac is the name of the program or was the name of the program up until a certain point in time. I think the 1990s something. That's in one of what they call the Majestic 12 documents. So Yes, this Immaculate Constellation could be just a reference to part of the zodiac, maybe one of the 12 parts of the zodiac. Okay, now on that point as well, could this just be a new name for zodiac? They changed it to this? Yes, it could be. I have a feeling that this is not the only program name. In other words, even if it's valid right now, that there would be other umbrellas. This is how the secret compartmentalization works, guys. We did episodes on this, right? You have an umbrella, which is the program, quote unquote, for your area, and it focuses just on this. So this one would just be, we're going to detect and hide and scrub from detection these UFOs and UAPs that are flying around our world. That's our umbrella. And so any work under that falls under this program. There may be a sister program right next door that does another part of the bigger work under the UFO UAP umbrella. Of the larger one, you have specific work groups. That's very possible. And in fact, as we I was just joking, she says, about Virgo. Well, I don't know about like coming from there, but it made me think of that, Virgo. Also recently, what we've seen confirmed by Dr. Eric Davis is the infamous or famous Wilson Davis memo. So Dr. Davis, who again, I believe he still works for the government somehow, right? Still has his security clearances and whatnot. He had a meeting and took notes with an Admiral Wilson, Thomas Wilson, right? Several years ago. And Wilson got ticked off because Davis and others who were in this meeting told him, yeah, there actually is secret compartments full of these programs and information. And Wilson's like, I don't know about this, and I'm one of the highest up guys in the Pentagon. How do I not know? So he went searching and he found stuff, but they still didn't tell him what he wanted to know because, well, yes, this is a program, but you're not read into it, so we can't tell you anything more. We can't tell you what we're about, who's funding us, who the employees are, none of it, because you're not authorized, sir. I had lawyers talk to him, not military superiors, but lawyers. That's how bad this is. So anyway, he discovered apparently, and if you piece this together with other work that's been done, there are potentially 20 different UFO secret access or secure access programs, all of which I'm sure are not reported to the Congress and illegal. USAPs, unacknowledged. You know what unacknowledged is? It means we can't acknowledge it. We can't admit it's real. Even if someone comes to you and you're in it, let's say, you're in a USAP, right? You're in an unacknowledged program. That means you can't tell nobody about it. If anyone comes asking, nope, can't talk about that. Well, what if you're in it and someone says, hey, I've got the name of your program. Is this true? What are you going to say? Darn it, you got us. No, you're under compulsion. You sign a document, a contract that says you will never tell anyone about this. It is not your role to acknowledge something that's unacknowledged before the world, before the Congress, before everyone. You cannot say. So even if you are in it and you are confronted, you have to say no. There is no such thing. Because it's not acknowledged. You can't acknowledge it. The Pentagon itself, which, by the way, finally, after dragging their feet for several days on this article, from Schellenberger, which this information comes from, right? Like I said in the beginning, that he gave them opportunity for their input for a statement from the Pentagon about this whole thing. Is what's up with the name? Is it real? Is there anything to this? So forth and so on. All they came back with was there is no program in our records called that. Come on. Again, they think you are a moron. If it is unacknowledged, the Pentagon cannot tell you that it exists. That's their rules. They can't acknowledge it, ever. The guy who runs it could acknowledge it, I guess, and change the status. Whoever's in charge of it. And sometimes it's right up to the Secretary of Defense. He's in charge of it. Or the president ultimately, of course, can, technically. Or can he? That's another episode, actually. I guess we'll talk about the Atomic Energy Act. And the Atomic Energy Commission that every single UFO program falls under. So it's automatically classified and automatically unacknowledged. It's ridiculous. Bunter says, you posted on X a Matt Gaetz clip. Is it related to this? Yes, it is. Well, it's related to the topic for sure. Matt Gaetz was on was in an interview, podcast with I don't know if it's a constituent or whatever, but he said, and I quote, "It is open source knowledge that the CIA has a crash recovery operation for NHI tech and biologics." So he's saying it's true, and he's saying this is the CIA part in it. Now, even that, now we're getting into, wait a minute, there's CIA has a role and the military has a role. They're different teams, okay? They're different groups. CIA has their own version of unacknowledged programs. But this is how this swamp works. If you want to call it the swamp, if you want to call it the deep state, yeah, this is the deep state. This is the swamp. It has nothing to do with Ukraine or conservatives or liberals or socialism. It has to do with UFOs. I'm sorry, that is the facts. That's unbiased opinion. Not opinion. That's where the evidence leads us. That there actually is a secret government, a swamp, unelected bureaucrats, so on and so forth. All these terms you might have heard. It's not about politics. It's not about social issues. It's not about war and peace even. Well, it might be at some point, but it's not about these conflicts that we have now. It's about UFOs. And the programs that we have around them, to study them, to find them, to break them, to reverse engineer, to recover them, to hide them. But apparently a big part of this Immaculate Constellation program is to hide it from you. Because there are many people in the military, in the government, who don't like this, who don't want there to be any secrecy about UFOs, for goodness sakes, or for God's sakes. They're flying around commercial airliners. You go up in a plane to go visit grandma or the grandkids, and there's UFOs around your plane. Don't you want to know that? Shouldn't you know that? Shouldn't you be informed? Yes, you should. Because these things around our planes, and not just our lumbering, 747s that you take to Florida or whatever, the fastest, best jets that man has ever made, the F-22 Raptor, the latest and greatest. There has never been a better piece of flying machinery in the history of mankind than the F-22. And it is outclassed by UFOs. It can't keep up. There's part of this story was there are multiple UFOs surrounding an F-22 Raptor that make it change course because it couldn't shake them. That's not our stuff harassing ourselves. If the technology is so, whatever it is so far beyond anything we can do. This is the more this comes out, the more these things that are told that are happening with our military stuff. Yes, and our private or our commercial jets and stuff, and humans just walking around town and filming things and having things happen to them personally, or getting taken and getting harassed and having hitchhiker effects and orbs in their houses and all this stuff. It's all part of it. But it's so far beyond anything. It's all, to me, there's no other explanation other than they are flexing. Whatever it is flexing on us. It's in other words, it's what is the statement? Was it Schellenberger or someone else? Exerting dominance. They are demonstrating their dominance over us. They're showing that we are far superior to you. However that works out. Okay, however you want to understand that. If you want to think in purely mechanical terms, in terms of flying stuff, or you want to think of spiritual meanings, or you want to think of interdimensional, I don't care. The point is, they are saying, whoever they are, we are so far beyond you. That's what the point that they're making is, don't even try it, because we are way better than you. Our stuff is better than your stuff. Our brains are better than your brains, or whatever. That seems to be what they're doing. To what end? We don't know yet. But that is, and again, this is not a new theory. I'm reading a book last night I'm reading through a chapter in this called The Day After Roswell. Philip Corso, who died recently, but he was there in the 40s and the 50s in the Pentagon. In the 60s and 70s and 80s. He's laying it out. That, yeah, they're doing these things to show us they're better, and we better take it as a threat. They were showing up the moon program. They were showing up the rockets that we were trying to send up in the 60s and the 50s. They were showing up our fighter jets in World War II. Before Roswell. Right? The Foo Fighters, the infamous, European theater. That's where all our advanced stuff was. So here they are. So whatever it is, it's ongoing. And yes, there are secret programs, of course. That's what we're finding out. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say on that right now. Immaculate Constellation. So I don't care what you think it is. I don't care. We've got to come to the understanding that it's way more important than this election. It doesn't matter who wins. The country is cooked because we allow a unelected group to have secret programs to steal whatever money they want from you and me, to keep things secret forever. Because we understand programs, they develop something in secret and then you let it out. You say, oh, hey, we've been working on this SR-71 Blackbird or the stealth bomber. Okay, takes a few years. You don't want to let that out. You don't want to tell the Russians you have this. And then one day you fly it and say, there it is, guys. Hey, check it out, what we've been working on. This was the reason for the secrecy and the SAPs and the USAPs and stuff that we had that we definitely told Congress about. Okay, so we're on the up and up. But this is the secret we were keeping. It's the stealth bomber. Now we can go anywhere on Earth faster than anyone, never be detected. And so this is a great projection of American power, blah, blah, blah. That's what's the purpose of secret programs are supposed to be. Not to go on forever and ever and never tell Congress and never tell us. Sorry. That's not only un-American. You have a whole new civilization. You have a whole new country that doesn't acknowledge America exists at all. You think you know better than the population. That means elections literally don't matter because they're never going to leave. They're never going to give it up. They're never going to reveal anything. So they think they're the kings and queens, and they get to determine what we know about things flying in our air and in our water, and God knows what else. All right, guys, time for your comments if you got any. Bond Servant says, if you remember, I knew an old guy who was former Air Force when I lived in Roswell. Yes, I do remember this. He told me about the El Capitan craft they found. He couldn't tell me much more than that. He did see the debris, though. I met him in a computer class. He was teaching me how to program, and I saw pics in his office, and he told me what they were about. El Capitan, is that the base? Yeah, so he says he saw debris. When it was, I forget what, was there a year on that? Was that, I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, to the degree that we can get over this denial would be good. That it doesn't exist or it's not important is a lie. Whatever it is, whatever the ultimate reason behind it, or the piloting, but who's responsible for it or what's responsible for it, is a different question. Right now we can't even agree. I'm talking about Christians. We can't even agree that they're real, or they're not figments of somebody's imagination or all a demonic manifestation, which is stupid. I'm sorry, it's so dumb. That's the mountain the craft was found at. All right, cool. There you go. Yeah. So what did he find? I mean, is this guy making it up, right? It's thousands of others making it up. Most of these people who we're building this history on and these testimonies are not crazy people. They're regular people like us. They have jobs. They have lives. They live places. They have families. They're not trying to be famous. They're not trying to reveal anything. They're saying, hey, FYI, I had this really weird experience, or I saw something really bizarre, and the military showed up and whisked it away. That's what we're talking about. And if you get a mosaic after a while, you can paint a picture of what's probably true. And I'm sure at the end of the day, when the truth does come out, and I hope it does soon about all this, that the truth of the matter may be more fantastical than or stranger, or more disturbing than anything we've come up with yet. Perhaps. But we're not even there yet, because we can't even admit it's real. And under that is the really waste of a time mental exercise of thinking it's just secret American tech. And if you look into it for 10 minutes, you know that's not true. How could it be true if we're talking about stuff decades ago, before we ever invented anything? The same stuff we see now, we saw then. The same stuff interfering with our planes now, we're interfering with our planes then. Or with our guidance systems, or our missiles, or nukes from in the 60s and 70s. Same things we're seeing now, we're interfering then. We don't have a fancy super UFO orb program in America. Sorry, we don't. There is no Chinese drone program that are magic orbs. We just have to admit it. It might be difficult, but to make sure that we get, okay, yes, whatever it is, they're real, and we're hiding it from ourselves, and illegally. That's why the most important election issue is this. Okay? Period. The end. It's all that it is. Okay. He said he described it, strange metal fragments with writing on them. He didn't want to get arrested, but I saw a lot of you mean military stuff? Well, again, that's consistent, bondservant. Consistent with what has been found in that part of the world and other places in the world. Weird, like very bizarre metal. Some of it had writing on it. Like it's been described like hieroglyphics or like maybe ancient Greek type of writing. To prove he was there. Yeah, I got you. It's all right. And by the way, Danny Sheehan, who's running who has a New Paradigm Institute, it's called, and who I am thankful for him because he is actually trying to get people, and he's got a team that's trying to motivate regular citizens like you and me to get involved and to say and do stuff that will make a difference in this, to say, yeah, we're organizing around this now. We're not just random people with podcasts. We're actually organizing around this. And it's the Citizens for Disclosure movement, all that stuff. That's his brainchild. So Danny Sheehan is to get a lot of credit here. Anyway, he says he saw material or pictures of it with writing on it, just as you're describing. Same type of stuff. So these are completely different worlds, completely different location. I mean, like Danny Sheehan, he's a constitutional lawyer who, is taking people to the Supreme Court versus some guy in New Mexico who had stuff on his desk, right? I mean, they're not related at all. They couldn't possibly have be hoaxed the same way, right? So, like, yeah, it's stuff like that you gotta just acknowledge. All right. So I think that's the first step. So again, if it gets me in trouble or gets me surveilled, whatever, Immaculate Constellation. By the way, my name is Christopher Manti. I'm a pastor. If those are surveilling me want to know, Wings of the Eagle is the company that we have set up to do all this stuff. wingsoftheeagle.com. Go find out about it. Hear the gospel. Find some stuff out about UFOs, about the end times, about Israel. It's great. I have a church called End Time Church. If you're interested in that, I just want to let anyone who's listening know about it. I'm on the board of a nonprofit called Jacob's Refuge. We do work for the Jewish people who are being persecuted. Hey, if you want to know about that, I'll tell you all about that too. So surveil away. Surveil away. Okay. All right. Okay, that's it, guys. Immaculate Constellation, that has come out. We'll see in time what more comes out about it, whether it's current, whether it has changed, whether it means something or doesn't anymore, what is contained within it. Is it an ongoing program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's get to the bottom of it together. Please share this video. Tell someone else about it. Let's get involved as a community, no matter where our backgrounds are. Let's not make little cliques in terms of who can say what or who's authorized or who's a superstar and who's a nobody. Forget all that stuff. That's not how this works. So if we're really interested in the facts, then let's do it. Let's do it. Okay? So that's my preliminary thoughts on this Immaculate Constellation thing. We'll be back hopefully next week with some more on this podcast. And so watch this space for more information. Obviously, if anything breaking happens, we're going to go live and bring that to you as it occurs. But until next time, Christopher Manti. Find me on the X platform, Manti4, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.